Ever wonder if everything you heard about creatine is just hype or even scam? New research from 2025 reveals not only does creatine boost your muscles, it can unlock sharper memory if you use it right. So in this video, I'm going to show you the real science, debunk the biggest myths, and give you clear steps on exactly how much creatine you should take to meet your goals. First of all, a quick disclaimer. This is not a medical advice. If you consider making drastic changes in your health, make sure you consult with a professional. Second, this video is not sponsored. I don't have any association with any supplement brand. You will find no referral links in the description. So this is just a neutral and evidence-based guide that should help you navigate through the jungle of health and well-being. 10 years ago, creatine was mostly known as a bodybuilding supplement, something used for muscle growth and performance. But lately I noticed something interesting. More and more of my clients over 35 are asking about creatine, not for muscle, but for memory and for brain health. And there's even a fascinating study on this, which I'll show you later in this video. But first, let's tackle one of the biggest myths you've probably heard about creatine. And this is myth number 1. Creatine causes hair loss. This myth started because of a study involving rugby players. Researchers gave them creatine and measured their levels of DHT, a powerful form of testosterone that's linked to hair loss, especially in men genetically predisposed to it. And yes, the rugby players' DHT levels went up about 56%. But here's the catch. Even though their DHT level increased, the players didn't actually experience significant hair loss. The researchers predicted the hair loss could happen, but they didn't actually see it happen. In fact, I've personally done the exact opposite. I reversed my hair loss in just 99 days while taking creatine. So I'm basically the anti-study. If you're curious about how I did that, comment down below. I gladly make a detailed video explaining my approach. Which leads us to myth number 2. Creatine damages the kidneys. Let me tell you a story. A few weeks ago, I had a client named Paul who was starting taking creatine. Before he came to me, he went to his doctor for a routine blood test. And the results came in showing elevated creatinine levels. And his doctor immediately concerned about Paul's kidney health. Now, elevated creatinine levels can indeed signal kidney problems. But there's one thing. If you're regularly lifting weights or doing resistance training, your creatinine levels might naturally go up, even if you don't take creatine supplements at all. And that's exactly what I explained to Paul. Elevated creatinine alone isn't necessarily a red flag. There are other markers like cystatin C that provide a clear picture of kidney health. So here's the bottom line. If your kidneys are healthy and you don't have any pre-existing kidney issues, creatine supplementation, even at higher doses, is safe and nothing to worry about. Let's get to myth number 3. Creatine causes weight gain and makes you look bloated because it stores water. Now, there's actually some truth here, but it's widely misunderstood. Creatine does attract water, which means when you're supplementing, you might see a slight increase in your weight. But here's the important distinction. Creatine doesn't cause water retention under your skin, which will make you look bloated or puffy. Instead, about 95% of the creatine is stored directly inside your muscles, with the remaining 5% stored in your brain, liver, or other organs. Think of your muscles like small balloons. When creatine pulls water into these muscles, into these balloons, they expand, becoming fuller and more defined, giving you a leaner and more muscular appearance. At the same time, creatine helps your muscles recycle ATP more efficiently, boosting your strength and performance. This is exactly why athletes and bodybuilders started using creatine in the first place. So yes, creatine can increase your body weight slightly, but in a way that makes you look and perform better, not worse. But as I mentioned earlier, creatine has some incredible benefits beyond this. So let's debunk myth number 5, which is creatine is only for muscle gain and for bodybuilders. In fact, a groundbreaking new study published just in June 2025 explored creatine's potential for improving memory and brain function. Researchers gave Alzheimer patients high doses of creatine, around 20 grams per day, for 8 weeks. And what they found was remarkable. Creatine levels in the participants' brains increased by 11%. And even more impressive, this increase directly improved memory and executive functions, like decision making, problem solving, and planning. That's why I recommend creatine to most of my CEO and executive clients who have to make a lot of decisions on a daily basis. And there's even more good news. Other studies have shown that creatine can also help reduce fatigue and improve cognitive performance even when you're sleep deprived. So the bottom line, creatine isn't just for muscles. It's a powerful supplement for your brain too. All of which leads us to the big practical question, how much creatine should you take and when? Here's the good news. Creatine is one of the most extensively researched supplements out there. The standard recommendation you'll often hear is about 5 grams per day. However, recently, many experts have started exploring megadosing, taking around 20 to 25 grams daily. As we saw in the Alzheimer's study I mentioned earlier, higher doses could offer additional benefits, but they can also come with the downside, which is digestive discomfort. So here's what I personally recommend to my clients. Take about 5 to 7 grams of creatine monohydrate daily. Ideally, you should take it during or immediately after your workout, because that's when your muscles are most receptive and ready to absorb it. If you're not working out at a given day, simply take it in the morning. Some people have reported that supplementing creatine too close to bedtime can slightly disrupt their sleep. So early in the day is usually better. But what about a loading phase? Honestly, I'm not convinced a loading phase is necessary. Sure, a loading phase, taking larger amounts initially, might saturate your muscles faster and give you maybe quicker initial results. But if your goal is consistent supplementation and long-term benefits, loading might just be a waste of creatine and money. One important thing to know if you're taking creatine, make sure you know the source. Never, ever buy some shady creatine from China or somewhere just because it's cheaper, because they can include some kind of toxic metals or other harmful substances. Make sure creatine is third-party tested, such as NSF certified. So in conclusion, creatine improves not just muscle performance, but also working memory and cognitive functions without big side effects. But the effects are minimal compared if you combine it with the right lifestyle changes. So watch this video next, where I'm about to show you how to get so energized you scare your doctor, and practical steps and tips to live a longer and happier life.